I'll tell you what's just upsetting for the U.S. taxpayer is that we still don't know just exactly what he did or didn't do or what his son did or didn't do. Actually, I should be a little bit more forthcoming on that. I'm pretty sure that we knew what his son did. I think that's pretty evident. That's really come out in more ways than one. And again, you're not taking my word for this. This is NBC News, which prides itself on being pretty liberal, shall we say. They said $11 million went from Ukraine into Biden's pockets, into the various LLCs, the 20 of them that were created shortly after Joe Biden became vice president of the United States of America. His son goes out and, of course, creates all these LLCs and then starts collecting from Romania, from Ukraine, and from China, including a diamond, an actual raw diamond. One of the billionaires, an energy billionaire in China. Interestingly, all energy companies, a lot of them, Burisma, then the energy company in Ukraine, that guy brought him a diamond. And they went out to dinner in Florida. He hands it to him. He got a Porsche from Romania. I mean, come on. Come on. And then he doesn't pay his taxes, like $2 billion worth of taxes. And then we learned what he spent the money on. And Gary Shapley actually came out on CBS News. I'm not going to play the clip again because it's kind of sordid. I was shocked that they played this on morning television on CBS Morning News, but they did. And let's just say that Hunter was not exactly what you would call a stand-up citizen in any way, shape, or form. And so the money went to some really grotesque stuff. Here we go. Here is Joe Biden saying, oh, no problem. Nothing to see here. Just a couple months ago on MSNBC.
First of all, my son's done nothing wrong. I trust him. I have faith in him, and it impacts my presidency by making me feel proud of him.
Oh, gosh, who wouldn't be proud of a kid like that? There's a lot there, and we need to get to the bottom of it. The names alone, the various names that Joe Biden went by, and we're learning of more and more. And this is more than just the big guy. I'm talking about the emails, 5,400 of which are going to be delivered courtesy of a Freedom of Information Act to the American public. There was a law firm actually down south, a group that asked for this from National Archives. They've been dragging their heels a little bit, but it'll come out. It'll come out in part because I kind of suspect the Democrats want it to come out because they know that Joe Biden, it's going to be tough going in 2024. It's one of the reasons why they're so desperate to get Donald Trump behind bars or to keep him off the ballot, even if it means bringing us to a constitutional crisis courtesy of this 14th Amendment bogus narrative that they're putting forward. I mean, you want to start doing that, guys? It's saying, well, he can't run for president because he caused an insurrection, except that of the 91 different charges, none of them happen to be insurrection. He has not been charged with that. I mean, please. So Joe Biden was up to something. There was a story I brought you yesterday that was breaking because there was another FOIA request that went in courtesy of the Heritage Foundation, and they delivered some of the emails that they received from government to the Federalist. And there's a reporter over there, Margot Cleveland, who did a big article on this. Emails obtained by the Heritage Foundation following a Freedom of Information Act lawsuit, she writes, and shared exclusively with the Federalist, reveal that lies leaked to the New York Times about the origins of damning evidence implicating Hunter and Joe Biden in a bribery scandal were fed to Delaware U.S. Attorney David Weiss. But it goes on because it seems as though this particular article was fed to the New York Times. And then the FBI very proudly took that article and then sent it all around so that eventually it got in the hands of U.S. Attorney David Weiss. So they're sort of saying, oh, you're going to look like a fool if you go after this because this is nothing but a bunch of misinformation courtesy of Rudy Giuliani. I mean, when in doubt, I guess pin it on Giuliani. We know, of course, and we have known that the whole laptop thing is true, even though they tried to tell us it wasn't. And that's just par for the course, right? They get really annoyed when you start to get too close, you find out a little too much information, and then they shut it down. And so they put out this big story in the New York Times. The New York Times has a reporter that's too stupid to actually say, gee, I wonder what the bias is coming from the FBI source that's feeding me all this stuff. Anyway, part of this that got overlooked and that certainly the New York Times was not reporting on was that there was something called an FD 1023 that the FBI was in possession of, but kind of hoarded and wouldn't allow David Weiss And the IRS attorneys investigating the Hunter Biden situation, as well as Joe, because the whole Biden family was under investigation, they wouldn't allow them to see this FD 1023. You see, they had sort of a lockup going on because they were concerned about misinformation, and they considered this, well, they considered it, I think they knew better, misinformation. This FD 1023, it's basically an interview with somebody who they considered a highly credible source, a highly credible, confidential human source, known as they have an acronym. I'll get it for you. This is funny. CHS, credible human source. And this is somebody that had worked for the administration prior. This is somebody who had worked for the Biden administration. And basically what it came down to was that they learned through this confidential human source that Joe Biden had agreed to be paid $5 million as bribe money to effectively take care of Burisma, and that Hunter Biden got the same. And according to this source, there's 17 tapes to prove it. So they got themselves quite a bit of a problem. And, I don't see how you get around impeachment right now, because we need to get to the bottom of this. If nothing else, for sure, Hunter Biden was engaged in illegal foreign lobbying. You're not allowed to do that. Tom Barrack, who, believe me, didn't need the money. This guy's a billionaire. He was very pro-Trump. I've known him a long time. He's a very, very big business person in LA. And he trust me, he's like on the Forbes list every year. He didn't need the money, but he got in trouble because, he's trying to help his friends, and he's got a friend here and a friend there. And he tried to kind of set them up. And that qualified, as far as the government was concerned, as illegal foreign lobbying. I don't know I don't think he was paid anything to do it. He's just like, hey, my friend here, my friend there. I was like, wow. So they went after Tom Barrack, but they're not going after Hunter Biden, who is very explicitly getting paid for it. And then not declaring any of his payments either to the IRS, nor even bothering to, have the decency to register as a foreign lobbyist, as you are required to do, for goodness sakes. Anyway, this is the world in which we now live. And someone's going to go down. I think that, if nothing else, we need to make an issue of this, because we cannot have future political families coming into office. And don't give me the Trump thing and the kids. Just don't give it to me, because I'm sorry. Those kids were legitimate business people themselves. They had a business. And you could argue, hey, maybe Jared got a little extra something from the Saudis because he had those introductions. But I'd also argue that their business suffered as well, because look at the cancel culture that's going on. I mean, you can have it, right? Who the heck would want to run for president under these circumstances? Anyway, the Trump kids are nothing like the Hunter Biden situation. You're talking orange to apples there. And so for any MSNBC contributor that wants to go on television and give us that song and dance, you know better, I know better, the world knows better. I would hope the judges would know better. Hey everyone, Trish Regan here. If you enjoyed that clip, please do me the favor of subscribing to the channel. Just hit that little subscribe button right over there. Did I do that right? Not quite, but you know where it is. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so that you get the alerts, and I'll see you back on the show.